Hello, everyone. Welcome again to another session of Rukmini, the Turning of Time and the Dawn of Era. So we are here listening to 14th chapter. We have completed 13 chapters until now, and we are entering into the 14th chapter. Until 13 chapters, we have seen all sorts of things and all sorts of situations that Sujata has underwent, and how she has been exposed. She was exposed to different set of stories and different set of mindsets that Mata was training and educating in women's quarters. So we have seen about Anjali's tale, we have seen about, we have listened to Sujata's tale, Amba's tale, and how Amba came into Mata's care, and also how she was working hard on the souls of people from inside. It's not just the external actions that she was concentrating, she was actually concentrating on internal transformation of human souls. That is Mata's work, and we will see more about that work in this 14th chapter. Until now, Sujata was under the care of Amba. I mean, under the company of Amba, I would say, and with the company of Amba and under the care of Mata. Like she was receiving extensive care and extensive. Uh, help from people surrounding people surrounding her. But now, as she progressed certain time in women's quarters, and she was receiving all the knowledge from people around her. Now is the time that she give back the knowledge, she give back to the society, she give back to the humans who are experiencing or who are in the same boat as of Sujata. Now is the time that we will see in 14th chapter how well she has managed it, and how well she was able to give back to the society. So the 14th chapter is titled as A New Arrival. Who is a new arrival? Who did come? It is a lady who joined along with Sujata. And as we all know, women's quarters, it receives the people who are in need, who are in a poor situation, not by, it is not classified by rich and wealth, or it is not classified by status. It is the poor treatment or the way that they were in the society that attracts them to this women's quarters. So, Amba was able to spend a quality of time in the company of Sujata, and it was a happy time for Amba. If she was not here, Sujata wouldn't be able to listen to Anjali's stories. Now, in the past, like 2 to 3 stories, Anjali was narrating all about the stories that she listened from Mata, and she listened to she was able to recollect from the past about her story, about Arjuna's story, about uh, I mean, Trijata, who is reincarnated as Subhadra's story. We have all listened to those stories, right? Now, it's time for Amba to leave to her home as her husband is back from Indraprastha and Hastinapur, actually. And it is time for her and Kashini to get back to their family. And this created some void in Sujata because she is so close to Amba. And her departure would definitely leave a void in her space of living. So, but that was filled by another lady. Sumati was in charge of the women's quarters, as we heard, as we know from the past, right? Anjali was transferred to a position where she would be an immediate aid to Mata, and this in charge of women's quarters thing. has been transferred to Sumati. Now, Sumati one day did bring a lady into her room, and she asked Sujata to and she asked Sujata if she can accept to share her room with this new lady, as everyone in the women's quarters, they were rejecting her because of a particular reason. I would say that particular reason is nothing but she had a bent spine and she had a deformity in her physical appearance. Now she was asked, she asked for a place with Sujata's room. And Sujata, what would Sujata think? Sujata thinks that she couldn't deny that fact, that she herself was a guest here, and then whatever she was given in this women's quarters and whatever the love and care that was given to her in this women's quarters, she is ready to give it back to the people who are in need, who did really approach her in need. So this is why we people will literally think that when they receive love, what happens was, they will be very very happy, or if they receive something in their life, they'll be very very happy, take that and absorb that. And when the time has come for them to give back, it is definitely their responsibility to give back to the society what they have received. That is the reason of giving back. That way you will know what is, you will understand the complete situation of the people in need. If you yourself has not underwent the situations or the things in a need, how would you give back? You would really, now when you give back, you don't hold that karma within you of taking the things. When you give back, the karma or the life cycle just passes from one to one another, and it will be a privilege for your soul to get into the higher stages. So giving back is very very important. That's what Sujata realized. And then Sujata did offer space. Actually, there was two beds in Sujata's room. And then Sujata, as Ishan was growing up, they couldn't actually fit in on one bed. But now that they had a guest in their room, they wanted to give Ishan's bed to that new guest. And then Ishan did let her mother know that I'm comfortable on the ground itself, so I'll be sitting on the ground. And they were generous enough to offer their bed to the new guest. So the new guest is named as Revati. She is Revati. She is quite a bit younger than Sujata, a thin and frail-looking woman with a plain face. Her deformity was her bent spine. She could not stand up straight. So she couldn't actually stand up straight. Her deformity was a bent spine. So people who have this bent spine, they couldn't actually stand straight, but rather I mean, animals would have that bent spine, like walking parallel to the earth. But we, the humans, who will stand straight by because spine is the backbone. I mean, it is the important piece with which withholds the human body into one and make them stand straight and look straight. So she has that deformity with her bent spine, and she could not stand up straight. The the first night she stayed with them, she insisted on sleeping on the floor, saying that she didn't want to deprive Ishan of his bed. She was a simple woman. She couldn't accept that, and she was very sad in her heart and brain of her situation itself. But Sujata and Ishan were trying to make her feel comfortable, and they did all they can do to make her feel comfortable. And then slowly they left her in the room alone, and then both of these ladies, both of this mother and son, they spent most of the time outside, because Sujata thought that she needs to stay alone. I mean, when she came to the women's quarters, she liked to spend alone time. And then she was like, she didn't want anyone to get her disturbed. So assuming that this lady would need the same thing, they left her in the room most of the daytimes, and then they went outside. They went outside on the women's quarters, serving something else and occupying with one thing or the other. But what really did Revati wanted is to have a company in the room, and she really wanted to share her time and share and talk with someone who really can understand her situation and be a comfort zone for her. Sujata later realized that she is actually expecting that company, and then from that time onwards, she really did stay in the room, and she tried listening to her. She tried encouraging her to talk, and one fine day, she actually revealed her story, how she ended up in women's quarters. So this is the story of Revati and how she ended up in women's quarters. So Revati's parents had three sons, and then she is the last one to be born to her mother and father, and that is the only girl. She is the only girl, and her father was so pleased that he named her Revati, because she said that her father thought that she brought him a wealth of happiness, and that was the correct thinking. You know what, there were so many fathers in this, even to the present situation, even in the past as well, whenever they uh, 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 when a girl baby was born, they obviously take it as a big positive thing, and think that they were luck to them, and then they bring a lot of happiness. So this particular father, he was thinking that she brought a lot of happiness, and that is a good thinking. Either it be a son or it be a daughter, if they are looking at them as a wealth of happiness, that is a real boon for them. you know that will make their lives more and more fruitful. It is not about the luck, the good things, the bad things that is surrounded by the birth. It's about the wealth of happiness that they are bringing to their parents is what is important. And this father realized that wealth, and then he was very, very happy that Revati was born. Um, that born. But later, even when she was born with that deformity, but yet her father didn't actually let go of that thinking. He always considered her to be a wealth of happiness. But um, uh, but what happened was, eventually what happened was, her mother and her brothers, they thought that she has brought a bad luck and sadness to her entire family, and whatever the events had happened in their family, they tied it to her birth. Because she was born, this thing has occurred. She was born, this thing has occurred. She brought in a bad luck, is what they were thinking. And they had put that they had put that they had tied everything that has occurred in their family to her birth. And this is I mean, it's that's how the level of thinking that they were, you know So when she was actually telling her, Sujata was also able to share with her the situation that she came from and how she ended up in women's quarters, and not much deep into it, but she gave a glance of how she ended up in women's quarters. Now she started remembering some words which we also have to carefully pay attention to it. If you yourself haven't been shattered, how can you help others who have been? F- for these words, as if we can remember, these words were spoken by Anjali in the past. If Sujata was not in that situation of experiencing those difficulties from her life, how can she be a comfort zone to Revati? Because now, since she has experienced all those traumatic scenes from her past, from her life, in the past, she was able to understand the mindset of the person who is going through on the same boat. Now, then she realized these words. If we have not been shattered, how can we be useful to others? In order to help others, we first kind of need to experience that situation in our mind, at least to be more productive or to be a more comfort zone to the people who are in need. Then she realized that staying away from Revati, she had not given her what she needed. She needed love and companionship, not time alone. From then onwards, she made sure that she was with her, whatever, no matter what, she was with her all the time. So, when after few days, she was like away from Sujata and her son Ishan. They were away from women's quarters, and then not they were away from the room, but within the women's quarters. Now, when they were coming back, they listened to a beautiful voice that was coming out of their room. Now, who could be in the room? It's none other than Revati, right? And then they were listening it from outside of the door, and then when they opened the door, she suddenly stopped singing, and then Sujata was explaining to her, do not stop, Revati, your voice is so melodious, you can be a good comfort zone to people who can lift their spirits up. It's such a beautiful voice. Please do not stop. Please sing. But still, Revati has no such confidence in her in singing with others, in front of others. But she stopped singing. And then, where did you learn that song? It seemed to be a song that Sujata can recollect from her childhood, one of the songs that her mother was singing to her. So, where did you learn that song? So it is my father who taught me these songs, Sujata. But what happened was, her father realized the talent in Revati, and as much as within his scope, he would actually narrate, try to introduce new songs to Revati. But her mother wouldn't allow her to sing because it says that it doesn't value much. It doesn't value much, and it wouldn't earn any income for the family, is what her opinion is. And then she always tried to subdue that girl by not allowing her to sing, but internally she had that talent and zeal inside her to explore more on singing. But her father would be a comfort zone for her, and then he always asked her to sing in front of him, and then he said it was a medicine for her spirit. And from the past, from the previous stories, we can obviously recollect that how Mata emphasized more on this arts like singing, dancing, music, whatsoever arts. Why did she emphasize more on these arts? It would lift the spirits up. It would really uh, help help us in relieving the negative emotions and make us stay positive. And we would also vibrate with positivity. That is the real reason of why Mata did emphasize more on arts. And Revati has one such talent, and Sujata obviously has a talent to dance. Revati has a talent to sing. Now, see how they were both united with each other, and how did Mata work on the back to unite them together. So we really can understand that, right? So his father would always encourage encourage Revati to sing in front of her to lift his spirit up. And but her mother was like, no, music may not put food on table, but it brings that. I mean, it brings nothing to the family, is what her opinion was. But um, what really happens was, Sujata did encourage Revati to sing because it may not put food on the table, but it brings joy to the heart, and that is even more valuable. Staying happy by heart is always important for the people, no matter what the situations are around us, no matter what we are going through. If we are happy from inside, nothing can shatter us, nothing can go wrong. That is the thing. So basically what happens was, if you are expecting something, if you have not received that, if you are not in a situation that is according to your expectation, uh, and uh, and there are so much of troubles that are going around you, uh, that doesn't matter. If you are happy from inside, you are abundant from inside, nothing can shatter your happiness. Those situations in your life may come and go, but if you are subjected to that situations, what happens is, you are giving the permission for yourself to be shattered by external conditions. Such should not be the way of the lifestyle, that will cause so much of negativity inside you, like depression, so the hormonal imbalance, all those things, right? Why do you want to move away? I mean, why do you want to give the permission to external situations to shatter your body from inside? No, right? So for that, and I would say that I would agree that it's not easy to be calm and to be happy in whatever situations we are. It's not easy, but our heart from inside has to have a vigorous training to be happy, no matter what our conditions are. If we were able to understand the situations or conditions that are happening to us, then it will be easy for us to actually be not a subject to the situations, but act, or a victim to the situations, but I actually be there to observe the happening of the situation, how it would take turn, how it would cause an effect, and what are we learning from that situation is what we would really observe. That is where the common phrase called attachment versus detachment comes in. So you be actually you just stay there and view the situation of how it is playing in your life, and you can and that's when you can learn from it. But if you actually be a subject to the situation, you cannot actually learn the real essence of that situation. So that's my thinking on it. And So it may apply to most of you or most of us, but we have to really think and train our heart on how to be, how to just view the situation as it is. So music is more, I mean, there are many tools in this world, like music, art, basically music, dance, singing, art, so many tools in this world to actually help us in getting rid of all these emotions. So that is what Mata was emphasizing on, and obviously Sujata was highlighting that point. It brings joy to the heart, and that is even more valuable. So and as she was telling these sentences or telling these words, it reminded of her father, Revati's father, to Revati, and then that's when she started adoring Sujata, and she started feeling comfort with Sujata. When as the days passed by, they were like sleeping in the room, and they shared two beds, like I told, right? Revati was sharing one bed, Sujata was sharing one bed, and Ishan was sleeping on the floor, with some things, with some blankets on top of some blankets. Now, as Sujata was dozing in the sleep, like early in the morning, she saw a beautiful scene that Revati was able to stand straight and was stretching arms like this upside. Now, when Revati was stretching arms up, she didn't care to pay attention at first, but then when she started going to sleep again, then she realized that Revati was the one who was born with a deformity, right? I mean, she had a bent spine. Where did that bent spine go? How is she able to stand straight and lift her hands up? And then she woke up in a surprise, and then she asked Revati, how are you able to stand straight? And then she started exclaiming, and then she started being in joy. Look, Sujata, at what I can do. She lifted her arms again. My spine is perfectly fine, perfectly straight. And both Ishan and Sujata were baffled, I mean, confused. She actually, they were not able to understand what it is, what is happening. And who healed you, Revati, is what Sujata asked. And then Revati said, I don't know how I can do this, how I can do this. I don't know what happened. Just before waking, I had a dream in which I heard a woman's voice say that a singer should not be bent over. She said that it would impede my singing and that I should stand up straight. So, in the dream, I then got up and saw that my spine was no longer bent. When I awoke, I thought it was just a dream, but I could not resist trying to lift my arms straight up to the ceiling, something I have never been able to do. So my spine has been healed. How could this happen? Is what she was confused. So she was listening to a woman in her dream, with, and that woman did really tell her, saying that a woman should not, a human being should not be over a bent spine. A singer should always stand up straight, because if they don't stand up straight, it would always impede, it would always lessen their talent. That's what she was trying to say. And how could this happen is what Revati was confused and surprised. But Sujata knows that it was Mata's work behind scenes. And you have not met Mata, right? And Revati was telling, yeah, I didn't meet one. Who? Rukmini Devi? Yes, no, I didn't. I didn't meet her. I haven't met her. So when you do, you will definitely understand, Revati, whose work is it from behind scenes. So that was the clarity that she gave to Revati. And again, Anjali did come to visit Revati, and then she told she was in exciting mode that she could her bent spine was cleared and then healed, and then she was able to stand straight. Until then, everyone looked at Revati in a pity mode, but now as she was healed, uh, she was looked with a lot of admiration in women's quarters. So and then again, healing the body is easy. Anjali was telling that healing the body is easy, healing the mind and heart takes longer. That is Mata's real work. So body healing is easy. Like, we have lots of medicines in this world, lots and lots of tools. As the time progressed, we have entered into a lot of advanced scientific knowledge. With that, we can heal the physical wounds, but there are wounds that happen inside that causes a lot of great suffering from inside. So Mata's real work is to work on those wounds that happen, that is causing a great suffering from inside, not from the outside. So as we can observe, Mata's work is not on the actions externally, but rather than on thinking internally. So Revati's mother, what she did from childhood was, she ingrained so deeply in her mind that the music was of no value, and it is obviously hard for a child who was subjected to that kind of sentences, who was subjected to that kind of thinking from the childhood. They can't easily overcome that thoughts, right? So it's hard for people around who are saying to make her feel comfort on that thing. And Mata is really working hard from inside to help her overcome that thought of having music has no value. Music does have value, and it brings a lots and lots of happiness and joy to the heart. If we receive like $1,000 or 1,000 crores, I mean, that can stay for a while, and that can go in a bit. If you give some money to others, that you can make them feel happy for certain period of time. But if you really work hard on enlightening themselves from inside, no matter what, you're setting the stage for them to be prepared to face the world with real challenges. That's the real giving, is what I would say. Um, so anyone who actually sorry. So if we want this really helps me in understanding, if any person or any person in need or require help, you can obviously give some money to them, if you are capable of. If you're not capable of, or even if you're capable of, try to work on highlighting their spirits from inside, so that they will be able to face the real challenges by themselves. You are not the person who wants to be a shell to them by reducing something. You can obviously do that if you're capable of, but yet try to really work on their spirits, lifting their spirits up, so that they themselves would be able to face the real world challenges and then be more productive, and their evolution will be faster. And that is the real help that we can do. So that is real Mata's work, and that's the understanding that we have to have from Mata's work that we are listening until now and in future too. So when she was still singing with only few people around, which is like she would sing in front of Parvati Mata in a temple inside that women's quarters, and then only Ishan, Sujata, and Parvati Mata was allowed to hear Revati singing. But Mata did really wanted her to come away of that comfort zone and be more public, and and she wanted her to work on making her music more public and be more valuable to the people, which can lift their spirits up. So that is what Mata's real intention is. And after this, after a few days, Mata came to meet Revati, and then as soon as she came, she wanted her. She spoke to her about a singer being standing up straight. Being a singer, you have to stand up straight and face the real world to make your talent more public. So that is what Mata was telling her. And then as soon as she spoke those words, she realized, Revati realized, that it is none other than Mata who came into her dream. And Mata did mention that she wanted the dancer and singer to be together, and then they have to learn from each other for few period of time. And she wanted Sujata also to give the back the love that she received in the women's quarters. She's training both of them, like taking, receiving, and giving back. And also she is also working on the people's hearts from inside and lifting their spirits up to be more valuable to the society. So she says that you should really sing Revati, but Revati was still not in a comfort zone to be more public and to sing public in a public. But I'm not really a singer, protested Revati in trembling voice with still lowered head. Mata smiled. Who decides that, my dear? You will learn what you need to hear. You will learn what you need to hear, so that when you return to the world, you will be well prepared. So if you will get training, all sorts of training that you need in the women's quarters, but when you're going out, you will be well prepared for that. That's my training, Revati. Who decides who will be a best and not best? And anyone can be best at any point of time. It's their evolution process. It's the time of their evolution process that is actually important to bring out the best outcome of one's life. So she made an arrangement. Mata did make an arrangement for her to meet with young musician. So as I mentioned a few chapters ago, like at the starting, there was this women's quarters and there was also this men's quarters who were being taken into men's quarters, who were less deprived in the society or less deprived in their families. So they were also taken into the men's quarters. And Mata was not only working on women, she was also working on men as well. I mean, human souls and animal souls, animal kingdom, human kingdom, plant kingdom, everything. She works on everything because she is Mata. She is the mother of this universe, you know. So she made an arrangement with young musician for Revati to meet both of them together. And then Ronit, he is named as Ronit. So Ronit was the one who was able to have, I mean, who has a talent of this instruments, playing an instrument. He's a musician too. So every day was the same, you know. So as she began to meet Ronit, slowly Revati started changing herself, and then she started to develop more confidence in her. And then she began to shift that habit of self-deprecation, which means thinking less of one's own self. She started to shift that mindset, and that's what is called as mindset shift. You need to be with the right person, or when you are with the right person of your comfort zone, that's when your mindset starts shifting from self-deprecation to the more productive thing, to have a more confidence in you, to be more abundant in you. That is the real meaning of mindset shift. Now Revati is experiencing that mindset shift. The pitiful young woman who had been cast aside by her family slowly transformed into a confident singer. Now, earlier she had the talent, but all sorts of delusions came, and then because of her family, she was considered as a less luck lady, and then she was considered as a person who brought a bad luck to her family, and then she started depriving of that talent of singing, and then all sorts of negative things were put in her mind by her mother, and her own mother who gave her birth, you know. So all sorts of these things came to her mind, but slowly when she was with the right person, her mindset started shifting, and then she became a confident singer. Now she is ready to go into public and be more useful to the society to lift the spirits up. When she came back, one day she started explaining about how Ronit ended in Mata's care in men's quarters. So Ronit was the person who was born to their parents, and he had a elder brother. So both their parents died when they were young because of an illness. So an uncle, or a maternal or paternal uncle, they actually took care of Ronit until 15 years, and then his brother was handed over to some other person, some other relative. Now they were divided, and this had a long-lasting print in his mind, because brothers were separated with each other, right? They were being taken away with each other. Now he was very close with his brother, but and the separation was naturally difficult for him. Now, when he turned 15, his uncle told him that it was time for him to go out and live his own, by making use of the music talent that he was. But now he went out in search of his brother, and then he realized that his brother had long left. Even after, right after he was taken under the care of other person. Now he had long left from home, and then he came out into the streets in searching of his elder brother, where he was not able to find his elder brother, but yet he started begging by making use of his music talent. That's when Anjali found Ronit, and she actually took Ronit to men's quarters, and then she made her feel comfortable. Now Ronit was able to find his older brother at certain point of time, and then his brother was actually married to a lady, and then his brother, they had a uh, uh, child. But after 3 years, the child left her body. The child died, and then they were in sort of great sadness. That's when Ronit came to their life, and then Ronit was able to meet his older brother, being a comfort zone to his older brother. Mata sent Ronit to his brother at the right time to be a comfort zone. See the time that they both met. One is in need, actually. Both of them are in need for each other. That's when they started having I mean, that's when they met with each other. Now, Ronit, Ronit to find his older brother now when his brother is going through such a difficult time. So that's when Mata planned for their meeting. And after that, after telling all this story, then she also did tell her that um, he is soon going to live with his brother, and then I am joining along with him, Sujata, is what she said. And then Sujata said that, okay, are you going to tell me some good news? And then Revati told her that, yes, we both are getting married. And I never thought I would have such happiness, Sujata. This is the first time after my father left. First, when my father was there, I would really feel comfortable with him. But after that, after a long period of time, this is when I started having such a huge happiness. So we both are getting married, and it was not a terrible surprise for Sujata as well, because she had been she observed her that she has been returning from her sessions with Ronit bearing such a happy expression. Now, so that's the reason behind their meeting. And I thought, and Sujata thought that it was the music that was lifting her spirits, but then she realized that it was something more than that. She has been touched by love. When a person is touched by love, she obviously would that obviously would make them lift their spirits up. A real love, I would say. And then Sujata, she was also telling Sujata that a story of how these both the brothers met with each other. It was none other than a young man who took Ronit to his, yeah, older brother. It is none other than Arjuna. And then as soon as she heard the word called Arjuna, name called Arjuna, she exclaimed that, what does he have to do it? Arjuna? Oh my goodness. Because she was so happy she was so happy from inside as soon as she listens to the word. She hears the word Arjuna, because Arjuna was the one who lifted her spirits up, and Arjuna was the one who cracked Sujata's heart open when her heart was closed out of love and she couldn't receive anything. Arjuna was the one who cracked her heart open, and then she was touched with her with his love. And the love that I was explaining between Arjuna and Sujata was not a materialistic love. It was a divine love. It was a kind of admiration upon hearing that name. So such was the kind of love between Arjuna and Sujata. It's kind of love between a divine love that used to be between Radha and Krishna as well. So such was the divine love between Arjuna and Sujata. So so it was Arjuna who drove the chariot and took him to meet his brother. He was the one who located him at the behest of Mata. So Mata was actually training Arjuna to be in the situation where he can be a healer, not only a warrior. Arjuna was well known for his skills and for most of the skills, but Mata was really training Arjuna from inside to make him more useful for the person to be as a healer. um, and this is Mata's training of Arjuna, who will one day be the healer of troubled hearts. So, who will one day be the healer of troubled hearts? How can that be? Because he has to undergo that training. He has some experiences. He has experienced some things in his life, and the other things, you know what? He was right there observing lot of people who were undergoing lots of struggles. He was in he was attending to them in person. And when you attend them in person, you will really understand the pain that they were going through, and it will be helpful for you to be more productive. When you If we are outside of the shoes, we really can't understand the situation unless be like throwing out some suggestions or something. But when you really try to be in the shoes of that person, then you can understand the real pain. How will we be in that shoes? Then you really have to experience that, or you really have to be there in person, looking at all those struggles that were faced by the people. Now, when so there was this story. It's not a story, but it's a real fact that Sumati was narrating this. Sita's father, the great Janak Maharaj, had said that a ruler must know firsthand and then tend to the daily struggles of people under his care. Now, when a ruler can be a more comfort zone or a handy person to the people in need, that's when he knows the things. And when you can really attend that or experience that situation, then only he can be more productive and valuable to the people in need. So it is said that when people in his kingdom were experiencing some tragedy, he would go to their homes and sit with them, explains Sumati. And Sri Ram did also learn this quality from his father-in-law by going in person to the people in the kingdom and knowing their difficulties, their sorrows, their struggles, and be and try to heal them with the with the vibration of love. So that was Janaka Maharaja's quality, and he has passed that as an inheritance to his son-in-law, daughter-in-law, daughter as well. So that is why Sita Mata, and it's not a surprise that Sita Mata was the mother of this universe, was born to this particular Maharaja. He is mostly known as a sage rather than the Raja or the king, because he has lots and lots of great qualities as a ruler, as a sage, as a human being, and as a celestial being too. And it's not a surprise for the mother of universe to be born as a daughter to this great person. So, yeah. So, Mata did really want Arjuna to have that experience of being useful to the people by being in their shoes of struggles. So that is the training that Mata was giving to Arjuna, and except he doesn't have the kingdom. If he has kingdom, he would go to the people. But since he was there because he was sent away. They were Pandavas. Obviously, with this when we come back to the Mahabharata story, they were being sent away from their kingdom because they lost the chess game, or the board game, right? So they were being sent away, and then Mata really want him to understand the struggles of the people and make use of that time more productively. And she's actually setting a stage for the future by taking help of Arjuna. That is the thing. So she was actually helping Arjuna. And then these ladies could realize the importance and the training of Mata. And then Revati was bidding a farewell to Sujata, that she was leaving along with Ronit start a new family. But she came back to Sujata, saying that how could I explain him about my deformity, and how I was healed, about my background and all the stuff. She was not so confident in letting Ronit know, but Sujata did emphasize important points, very, very, very important for all of us to listen to. We all hold things that are best not to be shared because they don't matter. Now, if people have some things in the past that they were not being able to share, they are. I mean, it's best for them to hold them if they don't matter. That doesn't matter, because what matters is what we become and not what we were in the past. This is the training that at least Sujata knew or realized from over the years. But who we are now is really matters, and who we will be in future is really does really matter. But who we were in the past doesn't really matter, because it's always a learning process for all of us to to evolve more in the life, in this evolution process, who we were in the past. That's why we forget our past lives, because I mean, yeah, it is important to resolve the unresolved karmic patterns, but yet past is past, leave it there. That is who you are, but who you are now really matters, and who you will be in future will depend on your present tense. So make your present tense more perfect and more productive, and more emphasize more on your present tense rather than digging onto the past. So that will make your future more fruitful, so that you don't have to worry about your past at all. Um, that depends on our present past life, or even the past life too. Revati did hug Sujata, and then they were able to bid farewell with each other. And then and Mata and she was very happy that she could give Revati that comfort zone. And what we received, what we give back, is what we were being trained for, and in this life. So that's what she realized. So before she left, Mata did make an arrangement of inviting other wives of Sri Krishna as well to Revati's and Ronit's performance, that they were singing so melodious, and it really helped all the people in the women's quarters to lift their spirits up. That is the training that they has underwent. And Revati had lost her father, her only friend, and had been cast out by her family, but Mata had gifted her so much more. So if you're deprived of something, if you lost something that is very valuable, make sure that realize this importance, that there's much more fruitful that is coming in future. But you just have to be a spectator to the present struggle, and not a subject to the situation. That's the important thing that we all need to learn. So Sumati and so Revati left, and then Sumati and Sujata were talking to each other. And then Sujata was telling that it really surprises me how Mata works on people, and how she works from internal. And then she was actually telling Sumati, how did you asking Sumati? So Sumati, how did you end up in Mata's care? And since Sumati was telling her that, no, I was born to a Kshatriya family here, and then as soon as I learned Mata's work on women's and how much she was doing to the women here in Dwaraka, I really wanted to join Mata and be more helpful. But my father didn't allow this to happen, and then he arranged a marriage for me. I mean, Sumati. I'm narrating about Sumati's story. So he arranged a marriage for Sumati, but Sumati did actually fly away. She fled away from the family and then marriage, and then she joined Mata. And then her father took this up to Sri Krishna, but Sri Krishna couldn't actually interfere with Mata, because he already promised Mata to not interfere in Mata's work before marrying Rukmini Devi. So he couldn't actually actually help him in any way. And then her mother reached out to Mata to make him understand of the importance, and she doesn't want to see that drift or separation between Mata and her husband and her daughter. So that's what she requested. And then Mata one day set a meeting with her father, and then out of that meeting, the father came out of that meeting, and he was totally okay with her daughter taking up this decision. And then this decision was completely fine with him, and that's the real Mata's work. And she also narrated another important story, which Sujata was mentioning about. I mean, Mata's work. She wanted to understand more on Mata's work, and Sumati did narrate a story to Sujata, saying that. Long ago, when she was Sita Mata, when she retreated to forest, along with her sons, there was this small deer that came in front of Mata, that appeared in front of Mata by being separated with her mother. Initially, Sita Mata did want to make that deer unite with her mother, but her kids actually pleaded her to let that deer stay along with them, so that they could actually play with the deer. And then Sita Mata did tell them that one day she has to go back to the forest and unite with her family and make her own children, is what she highlighted. And then they were okay with that, and for a few days she lived along with Mata. And wherever Mata went, the deer actually followed her, and then she was able to take the food from her own hand, Sita Mata's own hand. Such a lucky deer, you know. And then finally, once she left, one day she disappeared, and then she went to the forest. And after a few years, she returned back from the forest and then she came along with her two children. Now she wanted her children to meet Mata and Lavakusha, obviously, to have that pleasure of being with such great beings. So they united with each other, and then they had a good blessing, and then they retreated to the forest. And in this life, there was a lady called Minalini, or yeah, Minali. I guess it's Minali. Yeah. There was this lady called Minali, who one day came to the gates in front of the palace, and uh, she she was running from running and coming to the palace gates, and she was asking the gods to allow her to see Mata and to be with Mata. I wanted to be useful to Mata. I wanted to be with Mata. And then palace, she is very young, and then palace gods, they turned her away, but yet that couldn't stop her, and she kept on coming to palace gates. And then one day Mata did suddenly Mata was with Anjali, and then she immediately stood up and said that she finally found me. And then they themselves walked to the palace gates and invited her into their cottage, and then they wanted to keep her with him. They allowed her, I mean, Mata allowed her to stay with them. And she is a lady which she seemed to have no will or desires of her own, because the past life of hers was a deer, an animal. And now that she was evolved into this human life, she has no will. I mean, she doesn't know what to do, what not to do. She has no will or no desires of her own. Now, Now what happened was Martha did really wanted to make her evolution process very fast, so that by teaching her. Now if she was in an animal life, her way of living was different, right? An animal way of living was different. Now that she was evolved into the human life, her way of life should be very different rather than animals. Animals are like whatever that comes, they accepts and flight or plight. It doesn't. I mean, sometimes it matters for them, sometimes it doesn't matter for them, you know. But they act according to their natural instincts in the animal kingdom. But in the human kingdom, um, natural instincts matters, but rather than that, the rational thinking matters. What is a rational thinking? Um, so human brain has a special quality called rational thinking. A rational thinking is nothing but uh, a mind that thinks logically, clearly, and reasonably. That is called the rational mind. So you have to think logically, clearly, and reasonably. You can't just think just if I say something is right, if I say something, every situation has to be stick by the rules of dharma. Yes, it should be by dharma, but if someone is coming to you, killing is not dharma, right? But if someone is coming to kill you or attack you, you can just simply sit there and then let them kill you. You have to have a rational thinking. You have to have a rational mind. That's why you are in a human life. You have to know the ways, figure out the ways to stop them attacking you, or you have to move away if possible. But if that's not even successful, you have to fight back to save your own life. That is called the rational thinking. And rational thinking also makes decisions based on facts, evidence, and reasoning rather than emotions or impulses. So they have to make the decisions based on the facts, evidence, and reasoning. It sounds like a court law, right? They have to make a decisions based on the facts, evidence, and reasoning. That's why lawyers are there to argue based on these facts, evidence, and reasoning. And based on those reasonings that are given by the arguments, the judge would decide the justice and give pass the justice, right? So, such is a human brain, such is a capability of human brain. And when Minali was saying that she has nothing, no desires of her own, Mata did really want her to work or improve her rational thinking mind. So whenever Mata allow ask for Minali's suggestion, Minali says that whatever you think is correct, Mata. Whatever you say is correct, Mata. Is what she says, and and of course, Mata is correct. But when she asks you for opinion, then you say something about that. You have to have your own opinion for that. When you let your opinion out, that's when Mata is there always to correct or correct our thinking. If it is correct, she would obviously let that thinking pass. If she is not, if that's not correct, she would suggest us the alternate ways and then try to direct us in a right direction. So having one's own thinking is not at all fault, but how you're executing that thinking is always matters. It does always matter, and you have to have a rational thinking as you are in human life, is what Mata emphasized. Mata had helped to speed up her evolution process so that she could attain a human body. As she was in a deer, as she was in animal kingdom, she really helped her evolve in evolving to the human life. If Mata takes care for a deer she met long ago, would she not take care for each one of us? So that's the question that was emphasized or highlighted by Sumati, and this is all a question for this is a question for all of us. If she was taking care of such an animal, uh, uh, she wouldn't take care of humans. Of course, animals, humans, every creature in this world is equal before Mata, because she is the mother. She can't discriminate between anyone or anything in this world. She would carefully attend to everyone. It is that evolution process that she helps with, but we have to really work or take the advantage of that help from her, and then try to evolve faster or by learning much more faster. Yeah. So for that, I mean, for that, all this spirituality, liberations, sorry, evolution, spirituality, and then meditations can be more helpful to evolve much faster. So, and then uh, once she completed narrating that story, she asked Sujata if she wants to marry, but yet she told she did clearly state that Sujata is not taking any husband, any more man uh, in this life rather than Uddhav, because she was completely devoted with Uddhav, and even though he is not present, but she is completely devoted to Uddhav. Uddhav is only her only husband in her life, and then she stated that she will not experience any love again, but of course there's a divine love between Arjuna and Sujata, but not the materialistic love. So with that, they have ended the discussion, and we are also ending this chapter. We have realized, and we have realized very, very, very important work of Mata, and so many points can be considered in the story, like how Revati has accepted the new change in her life, and how she had shifted her mindset from a less deprived girl to a more confident singer, and then how Sujata was able to serve or give back the love that she has received, give back this in a form of service, and how a lady, or how Mata did really work on a women by helping her evolve her evolution process faster, and to have a rational thinking while being in the human life. So always rational thinking is always important for human life, and how parents, some of the parents are like subjecting the kids to lack of the talent, because they have kids are like born with some talent, but some of the parents we like we are subjecting them, we are suppressing them, that we have to realize. So it's very important for all of us to concentrate on what is important and what is not important. The real happiness that is coming from our heart is more important than the joy, than the materialistic things or struggles that we were facing or seeing outside. So be more abundant, be more confident, and set yourself ready to shift your mindset based on the situations. So you're not less for anyone, you're not less than anyone. You are confident as you are. You are strong as you are. You are even more beautiful as you are, and you will be more productive when you have that zeal inside you to learn more. So, with that, I will end the story, and we will meet again in the next session with